Thank you. I'll now explain to the chamber what the chamber just heard. The Albanese Labor government is putting multinational telco company profits above human life, above Australian lives. For many people, this is a matter of life and death. The Senate has pulled the minister in front of the chamber to explain, quote, why the government has failed to place a single condition on the 3G mobile network shutdown. 1,041,282. That's the number of devices the telcos have told us will not function as sold when they shut the 3G network in just 2 months. Yet the Communications Minister is sitting back and letting telcos, Telstra and Optus just do it. That's thorough for the Labor Party. If our Senate had not fulfilled its role as a House of Review and instead stood back and not intervened, telcos would have shut Australia's 3G network in 10 days' time. Revelations from our Senate inquiry into the 3G shutdown led to a 2-month delay. In 2 months, the Communications Minister will let telcos switch off the 3G network, even if 1 million devices still rely on it. I have simple questions for the Communications Minister. How much are telco companies like Telstra and Singapore-owned Optus making from shutting down the network early? How much is an Australian life worth? Who will be responsible if telcos are allowed to flick the switch in 2 months and someone dies? There are Australians with 4G phones, not 3G phones, 4G phones, who will not be able to call 000 when the 3G network is shut down. There are emergency phones in lifts that will not work when someone gets stuck. And they didn't know that until a couple of weeks ago. Many fall alerts, medical alarms and pacemakers use 3G to alert an ambulance. This isn't just about upgrading old phones. Although the telco companies will certainly make more money from forcing people into new phones, there are non-mobile devices that will be affected as well. Telco companies gave us the figures at the inquiry. Together they estimate there are 68,000 3G mobile devices still in use. These are old phones. An argument could be made that it's time for them to be replaced. Yet the 4G phones is where it gets really interesting. There are 4G mobile devices that will be affected when 3G shuts down. Some 4G phones piggyback on the 3G network. They use 4G for data and default to 3G to make calls. These are referenced as not voice over LTE or not VoLTE. Telcos tell us there are 311,000 of these. When the 3G network is shut off, there will be 311,000 4G phones that won't make a phone call. Then the final category, 4G phones that have VoLTE and will be able to make calls, yet default to 3G for emergency calls on 000. There are 52,000 4G devices that will appear fine until someone tries to call 000 and it doesn't work. Across the 3G only, the 4G non-VoLTE and the 4G VoLTE, no emergency call phones, there are 432,000 mobile devices that won't work properly. And that's only half the story. There are non-mobile devices that will be cut off and stop working, an estimated 608,329 of them. No one really knows how many as telcos can't directly contact the users. That's thorough, according to the minister. These non-mobile devices include fire alarms, 200,000 medical alarms, emergency phones in elevators, warning systems, FPOS terminals, agricultural equipment like water pumps and water trough monitors and tractors, Internet of Things enabled products, routers, scanners and survey equipment, water meters, power meters, and much, much more. As the department said at the inquiry, quote, it's fair to say that we are learning new things as we reach out to different stakeholders. That's just a few weeks ago. Thorough. That means they have no idea how big is the non-mobile device problem. 1,041,000 in total devices to be affected, potentially more, and the Minister for Communications is ready to let it just happen in 2 months. Why the rush? Good question. Why not delay it further until Australians won't be put in danger? It's all about profits for these huge corporations and the minister's ongoing timidity or apathy to not protect Australian lives. I thank the Liberal, Nationals and Green senators for supporting my motions for this inquiry, and especially Senator Canavan as chair. I note and appreciate James Parker's outstanding submission and testimony. The solution is simple. The Communications Minister must intervene and set safe, practical criteria or thresholds for the number of devices affected before the shutdown can proceed. Instead of leaving Australians high and dry, put the onus on the telcos to take care of Australians. This is a matter of life and death. What value will the minister place on Australian lives